the Are We Recording podcast back again with more NFL predictions. It's the young Rottweiler, Ethan Hamilton.
Bark, 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 bark.
And I'm Gage Sutton 007. And today we are joined by a special guest, good friend of the show. If you have been keeping up with the Are We Recording podcast, I'm sure you've seen him before and have follow the page, which if you aren't, you should already be clicking the follow button right now and the subscribe button. But it's Xavier, man.
X-Man. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it. It's nice to be back, and this time I'm not holding the camera, which is pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is nice.
We had to graduate you. We had to move you from behind the camera to front of the camera. You know what I mean? That's just how the process works.
Y'all treat me better this way. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. There's a lot of mistreatment. There's a lot of mistreatment behind the camera, man.
Yeah, get in line. Get in line with Jared, Danny, and Dylan. Get in line.
It's like y'all got so many workers complaints. It's like, where's the work?
Bad.
No, just kidding. No, we really appreciate you joining, and we appreciate all of our recording fam. Again, if you guys have not been keeping up with the podcast, make sure you guys subscribe. We are posting these NFL prediction videos every week. And make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok to keep up with all of our micro content. And Ethan, without any further ado.
Before let me plug one last thing. The AWR podcast, full-length podcast, will be coming back in the next week or two. Just had to get situated with this whole NFL picks, but we will be back. So don't worry. Your favorite podcast will be arriving very shortly. But in case you miss us too much, watch our NFL picks videos, as well as go back and watch some of the old podcast videos. They age pretty well, if I do say so myself. And you keep getting better and better. So we appreciate the support. But Gage, just jump right into this with our week 4 overreactions. What you got with us? What's your overreaction?
Man, I think I am ready to say that the Ravens are the legit real deal in the AFC. And the reason I say that is because after a slow start to the season, start with the loss in Kansas City, they lose to Vegas week 2, they come out week 3, and I really think they found their identity against Dallas. They ran the piss out of the ball and really leaned into what makes them a great team. Their physicality in Derrick Henry, in Patrick Ricard, in the tight ends they have in Likely and Mark Andrews. And we saw it again in week 4 against a very good Buffalo Bills team. If Baltimore can stay healthy and keep playing this brand of football, I really don't think there's a team that's going to want to see them in the playoffs. It's just going to be impossible to tackle Derrick Henry. And I legit think they're the favorite right now in the AFC.
Honestly, I'm going to have to double that with you and agree, because especially with the Chiefs losing Rashee Rice, it hurts them a lot because now they're out with their number 1 and number 2 options in Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown. And you're right, like against my former team, X's current former team, they found their identity and they doubled down on it against the Bills. And because we talked about this, like I think on our first NFL picks, they need to decide either they're going to do this pass happy stuff with Lamar and Zay Flowers and them boys, or they're going to stick to what the Baltimore Ravens have had success in the past, which is running the football. And I think they've made that choice, and it's working out. Derrick Henry looks like the signing of the offseason. He looks like he hasn't lost a step, especially the last 2 weeks. What do you have, like 180 plus?
Bro, he scored on the first play.
Oh, I knew the game was over. When he did that shit, I said, yeah, the game is over.
He scored on the first play, 87 yards in the first quarter. Like, this is stuff that we would normally see from Derrick Henry third, fourth quarter after he's worn down a defense after a little while. Dude, he is still running this way at almost 30 years old.
He should have been a Dallas Cowboy. He should have been a Dallas Cowboy.
I was just about to ask you, bro, how do you feel about that? Because the Cowboys just said, nah, we're good on Derrick Henry. And that's one of Dallas's biggest problems right now on offense. They have zero run game. And Derrick Henry could solve a lot of those problems, I think.
I mean, look, man, like Ethan said, Ethan's abandoned the ship. Unfortunately for me, Jerry Jones has been my paralysis demon.
I didn't abandon the ship. I protested.
You abandoned the ship, Ethan. No.
Protesting.
He abandoned the ship, bro. He abandoned us. It's all right, bro.
No. I just hopped on a lifeboat right next to the ship. Unfortunately, I'm going to jump back on it next year. I didn't abandon the ship. I'm protesting.
All right,
you guys
whatever,
say what you want. I'm
Hey,
protesting.
Unfortunately, You picked the Chiefs the one year they might not win the Super Bowl.
I know
so-
this is sickening. Only would this happen to me. Only this would happen to me.
I mean, bro, if it makes you feel better, like I was saying, Jerry Jones has been my sleep paralysis demon since I was 8 years old. Like at this point, I'm having nightmares about that guy. As soon as I heard Derek was training in Dallas, I was like, oh, this is a done deal. I was being stupid. I was praying, and I get those again.
Yeah, and then for him to do that interview, I think it was Pivot or it was with somebody where he was like, "Yeah, I never had a meeting with Dallas. They didn't really show any interest." And I was like, I made a good choice for testing. I made a very good choice for testing.
Nah, I texted Ethan after they did that to us. I texted him one sentence in the middle of the fourth quarter. I said, I'm about to join you. That's all I said.
It's too late. It's too late. No. You guys can't protest now. Now y'all are abandoning ship, Gage. Now what he's and Travis are doing with the Cowboys, that's abandoning ship. I left before the season started. That's protesting. That's it. I'm trying to tell you, there's a difference. There's a difference.
I mean, either way, bro, I'm stuck in a bad relationship with a girlfriend that hates
don't
me.
love you. That keep cheating on you. They keep beating the shit out of you. And
with your friends. She keep going with your friends, and you keep going. She's gonna be back though. Like I made her dinner.
But I feel that. But all right, so Gage, your first overreaction is that the Ravens are the favorite. X, what you got for us?
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. This hurts my heart to say as a Dallas Cowboy fan. It really does hurt me. But Jaden Daniels, that brother, that brother might be the CJ Stroud of this season. Like I'm watching that. I'm watching the Commanders game. First off, bro, he looks so comfortable in the pocket. He looks so comfortable running that offense. And yes, I know everybody's like, oh, but he's running a college offense. Isn't the point to build a system around your quarterback so he can succeed? So he just looks amazing. He looks comfortable. They got weapons around him. I hate to see Dan Quinn do well after he broke our hearts, man. He left us. But yeah, to me, Jaden Daniels is the CJ Stroud of this season. That boy's gonna take him playoffs, maybe second round. That buddy might be that guy.
You think Washington gonna win the division over Philly and Dallas?
Yeah, I think Washington, bro. You saw Micah Parsons is hurt. DeMarcus Lawrence is hurt. Deron Bland is hurt. CD Lamb been playing through an ankle injury the whole damn season. Like at this point, dude, tank for Travis. Let it ride, bro. Because I need him on my team. I need Travis Hunter on my team. I'll tank this year for Travis.
Yeah, I don't know if I could jump with you that far on the ledge about Washington. I do think Jaden Daniels is the future of the Washington Commanders. I think they finally got it. They had it for a season with RG3, a season or two. They couldn't really maximize what they had in Kirk Cousins. It never really was a fit. But I think Jaden Daniels, I think this is the best Washington has been in like really a decade. And I think this is a good building block season for them. I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win the division. I think Dallas, I'm not even trying to be a homer. I don't think Dallas is going to do much this season at all, if anything. I think Philly still stinks, but I think both are still, not even marginally, I think both of them, when healthy, are still leaps and bounds better than Washington. I think Washington now, we're just seeing what it looks like. They were so bad the last couple of years under Ron Rivera. So bad. That one year they did make the playoffs with Taylor Heineke, it was because Dak didn't play at all that season. And I think it was the year the Eagles were switching from Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts. So I'm not going to put too much stock into Washington team overall. I think they've had a great start to the season. The Bengals win is a good win because I think the Bengals are a solid team, especially offensively. But I'm not mad at you, bro. Jaden Daniels is going to be a star, bro.
Well, hey, honestly, X, I will jump on that with you because the NFC East is always a crapshoot. I think there's been a different division winner every year. But here's the thing. Ethan, you say that you think that the Eagles and the Cowboys are marginally better than the Commanders right now.
Not marginally levels. Like they're a lot better.
Like there's levels to it. Yeah. I really don't think that's the case right now because as of right now, the Washington offense is much better and way more efficient than both the Dallas and Philly offense. And it's not even close. The stats right now, they back up the Commanders in every way. They've put together more scoring drives, 23 in 4 games, than Jaden Daniels has in completions, 19. That is insane. So offense alone, yes, I will give you the Commanders defense nowhere near the level of the Dallas Cowboys or the
And
Eagles defense.
I don't think the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles don't have a good defense. Like I think they're very middle of the pack, both those defense. But I think the difference is
coaching is another thing though, because the Commanders right now have a better head coach than the Cowboys and the Eagles.
See, I'm not gonna go that far.
Yeah, I will. I will.
I'm not sure I would go that far because Big Mike's not a great head coach, but he's middle of the pack.
He's a very good head coach.
He's very good. He's not a great head coach. He's very good.
And
right?
Dan Quinn isn't.
I mean, Dan Quinn.
No, I don't think so.
Dan Quinn got his team to a Super Bowl.
I mean, it's different. It's different.
I'm not saying he's great either, but I'm saying if we're gonna put him on levels with McCarthy, I think it's very similar. I think Cowboys fans would have taken Dan Quinn this year over Mike McCarthy.
I don't think so. I think they saw that game against Green Bay, and that wasn't on Mike McCarthy. Well, it's on everybody. Don't get me wrong. It's on everybody. That's different. But that Green Bay game was on Dan Quinn. You can't say nothing about Gage. Come on.
Hey, I had 23 I just remember Dak throwing a pick six in that game too.
Yeah, when we were down by fucking 24.
But also don't forget this. Like speaking of coaching struggles and team failures, Philly offense looks super uncomfortable, especially with Devontae going down, AJ struggling. Jalen Hurts has turned the ball over almost every single game.
When you're ready to apologize about Jalen Hurts, I'll be here, and you're gonna have to make a full announcement.
I'm not. I actually, if we can have a quick conversation about the Eagles, I really think that it's just organizational malpractice what they're doing to Jalen Hurts, because they bring Kellen Moore in, and Kellen Moore is a pass happy. Like I really don't understand, man, because I think Jalen Hurts is a good player. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. We are seeing the weakness in him.
Whoa. X, did you hear that? Jalen Hurts is what?
Not an elite quarterback.
Not an elite quarterback.
I want you to say it again. This is what I've been telling you for 3 years.
We've been campaigning about this in the group chat for years.
We have been.
He had one good year. Everybody was saying he's better than Dak. He had one good year, and everybody's like he's better than Dak. Y'all ready to put a crown on his head?
I definitely was on that train.
I don't want to have conversation about Jalen Hurts in the top 10. I really don't. But we'll say that for another day, because when you ready to walk that.
Okay,
but Gage is right. Gage is right. Hurts looks uncomfortable in the system.
It's just bad. Like obviously, there are limits. We are seeing his weaknesses as a player, and honestly, the Eagles have just been a mess since Shane Steichen left, bro. The offense has been a mess. And it really is just coming down to why don't they go back to what was working for them? The RPO, run the ball. You've got Saquon Barkley. You've got Jalen Hurts. Like, these are the things, and set him up for easy throws. They're treating him like he's Dak Prescott. They are completely different players. And, I mean, you can have your opinion if you think Dak or Jalen Hurts is better. Obviously, I had mine. I could be wrong now. But, like, obviously – I think Jalen Hurts has his strengths. They are not catering to them. And that is why the Eagles offense has been a mess right now. And I think it starts at the top, man. Nick Sirianni, like, what are we doing here?
I'm agree with you, and I'm going to take a little bit of a victory lap. This is who Jalen Hurts always was. This is who Jalen Hurts always was. He can't throw in the middle of the field. He can't handle a blitz. He has to run RPO and to throw outside the numbers for them to succeed. You have to keep it simple for him. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. He is not an elite quarterback, and he's not a very good one, and that is okay. Philly has shown that they can get to a Super Bowl with him, which a lot of teams with elite quarterbacks cannot say. They had a system. They had a plan of how to get there. He even played great in that Super Bowl, even though his fumble was the reason why they lost. But the point is, this is who Philly always was. Before the season started, what did we talk about? I said, if they didn't have Saquon Barkley, they'd be 0-4 right now. If they didn't have Saquon, they'd be 0-4. And even when they lost Saquon or lost DeAndre Swift for Saquon, I said the Saquon move is not going to make that much big of a difference because the Eagles still didn't address what they need. Kellen Moore has not fixed this offense through 4 weeks. Big Banjo hasn't done nothing with this defense. This secondary is still chop suey. What's his name? Chauncey Gardner Johnson, the safety, has led up the most touchdowns of anybody in the secondary in the NFL.
Yeah, they're looking rough on
Darius Slate is getting cooked every week. The linebackers are still stinking. All those Georgia boys that we gassed Howie Roseman about drafting, All of them stink, minus Jalen Carter, who's okay. All of them stink. All of them stink. Nolan Smith stinks. Nakobe Dean stinks. Kelly Ringo stinks. I can keep going. They all stink, and we gassed them. I told you about what's his name when they gave up the 3rd-round pick for the receiver in Washington.
Oh,
What's
Jahan
his name?
Dotson. Yeah,
Jahan Dotson. A team like Washington doesn't have any good receivers outside of Terry McLaurin. For them to give up on a 1st-round wide receiver after, what was it, a year, 2 years? With it tells you all you need to know. They fleeced the Eagles for a free pick. They fleeced him. Right now, I think he only has like 10 catches on the year for like 160. Something like around those numbers, according to Cox sources. Like, the Eagles are a mess. According to Cox sources. Like, but
I'll double check that for you. But yeah.
it's something horrendous. But yeah, I'm with you, Gage. The Eagles are in deep shit. And I guess for my final overreaction, the Chiefs aren't three-peating. The Chiefs look gassed in every way. Not Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes sent Rasheed Rice to the IR. That if any other quarterback did that, they would have his head on a stick. Rasheed Rice has been carrying that offense. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football. He's a future Hall of Famer, the best quarterback in football. But he's played stinky throughout these first 4 weeks. And the Chiefs are still 4-0, which I guess is a good sign. But when you have Travis Kelce acting wash, they don't have Hollywood Brown. Pacheco's out for a couple weeks. Rasheed Rice, which is looking like is not going to be a torn ACL. It's looking like he's probably going to come back probably more likely than not the second half of the season, according to Cox sources, with a PCL tear or something like that. PCL, yeah. But I think doing this three-peat is doing a number, especially on the offense. The defense, I'm not too worried about. They still have the new corner they have, Watson, baller, replacing Snead very nicely. They still have what's the name of the other corner that's uber nice? I'm terrible with names. What's the other corner?
Oh,
I think it's elite of the elite, like one of the 5 best corners in the league.
He's an all-pro. God, Gage.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Chiefs corner.
McDuffie. Trent
McDuffie. They still have Trent McDuffie.
Yeah,
the defense is still like that. The offense, though, is like they're going to struggle without Rasheed Rice coming back. And it leans into more credibility that I think if there's any year for the Ravens to take it, because I think they're about to go on a run. It's got to be this year.
Man, see, I'm not ready to 100% say that the Chiefs can't win the Super Bowl this year. I still think they're the favorite in the division. They're going to get to the dance. And as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, I think they're going to be in the race, unless he goes down. And I think that goes more to just like the head coaching and the way that they've been able to play. Because even though Mahomes hasn't played well, they've proved that they can win in a lot of different ways, whether it's running the ball and playing a lot of good defense or letting Mahomes make the throws that he needs to. I'm with you though. I think Baltimore, this is their year. Kansas City is the weakest they've been in years past, I would say, now with a lot of the injuries. So Baltimore needs to go on a run, get this home field advantage, and just hope that the Chiefs don't come back in the playoffs, man, because we know that they're capable of it. So I'm not going to count them out in week 4, but
this is why it's called week 4 NFL overreactions. And if you guys have liked our overreactions and some of our takes so far, please make sure to hit the link, hit the subscribe button below, and subscribe to the channel. We can use it. All the help we need. But let's transfer on to our week 5 NFL predictions. And I'll let our special guest, our very esteemed colleague, Mr. Xavier, you'll start us off. The first game of the week, Thursday Night Football, Bucks at Falcons. How you feeling?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. The Bucks are a very up and down team for me. I mean, that was a horrible loss to Denver. That was awful. I mean, Bo Nix. My brother's gonna hate me for this. My brother was an Oregon fan. Bo Nix is not an NFL quarterback. He doesn't look good. He doesn't look comfortable. He's a rookie that can change. The awful loss. So the Bucks are very up and down for me, but I got them winning this Thursday night. I'm a Baker Mayfield believer, man. That was my white boy of the year.
And they put belt to ass on the Eagles too last week. Let's not forget it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but unfortunately, I'm gonna hop on to the Falcons. I think the Falcons are a very scrappy team. I think it's kind of even between these two teams as far as the NFC South goes. It's gonna come down to these two teams. The Saints might have something to say on it, but they already won their Super Bowl against Dallas and have kind of stunk the last 2 weeks. But I'm gonna go with the Falcons. I think at home they win scrappy games like this. Kirk Cousins, like I said, he's not really getting much better. That ACL is probably or ACL or Achilles is still bothering him. But I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Yeah, this one's a tough one too. Division matchup. I think Tampa's, kind of up and down. We saw that one loss to Denver, but I think Denver's defense is actually really good because they beat the Jets last week. Um, I feel good about the Falcons. I think they're scrappy too. They're playing at home, and again, these division games are kind of a toss up. So I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
Bet. Let's move on to the next game. We got Jets at Vikings. I think this is gonna be a pretty good game. I think the Jets need to bounce back because that was a horrendous loss against Bo Nix. That was really, really bad. Really, really bad. Rodgers and Wilson were not on the same page. It looks like they might be trying to move in for Devontae Adams. It's looking rough for the Jets, and I don't see it getting any better. I'm gonna go with the Vikings with the early season MVP and Sam Darnold. They have Jordan Addison's gonna be back this second week. He was back last week and he hooped, but I think having another week under his belt, especially to get healthy, I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
X, what you thinking?
I'm gonna piggyback on that. I'm also gonna go with the Vikings. Darnold looks fantastic through 4 games. I mean, that guy, he's always had the physical talent, right? Since he was at USC to be a great NFL quarterback, be a good one. But he looks like he's finding in a system with Minnesota that caters to his skills and also gives him the weapons to succeed. So I'm also going to go with Minnesota. I also love their defense. I love what's going on over there. They got Stephon Gilmore from Dallas, along with using their cap space the right way in the offseason to bolster that defense. I'm just excited. I think they're going to take it.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Minnesota. I'm not very happy about it because they beat Green Bay last week. But I think everything y'all said is completely true. The defense has been hooping. Sam Darnold has been playing really well. And another thing that scares me about the Jets for this game is it's an international game. And these international games can always just be a crapshoot.
Oh, it's an international game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one's an international game. This one's going to be at 8:30 in the morning in London.
Oh, that might contribute because I was picking the Vikings. I'm gonna stay with the Vikings, but I thought they were playing at home. Oof.
No, the thing is, I still feel good about the Vikings playing in London. I just feel like Rodgers, I don't know what it is about him, but I just have a bad feeling that he's not going to have a good game in London. I don't know.
All 3 Vikings?
Yeah, I'm going to take Minnesota, yeah.
All 3 Vikings. All right, next game. First 12 o'clock game. Panthers versus Bears. The sleeper game that I don't think any of us are going to watch. I'm going to go with the Bears. I think the Bears get another dub underneath their belt. The Panthers are a bad team. I know they've kind of played a little bit better with Andy Dalton, but I'm going to go Bears.
Yeah, give me the Bears too. I don't think Carolina played very well last week either. Chicago got their first win or their second win last week? Second win. Their second win against the Rams. So I think that was impressive, even though the Rams are kind of beat up. So yeah, I'll take the Bears.
I'm also going to take the Bears, mainly because watching Caleb Williams and that offense progress, he's getting to finally look like an NFL quarterback. Those first 2 weeks without throwing a touchdown were real rough, but he finally looks like he's getting the flow of the offense. Mm-hmm. Defense has been holding the entire season. You saw what the defense did to the Texans, held them under 20 points the entire game. It was just the offense couldn't get going. I think once they get that offense going, they're going to be a tough team to beat for these middle-of-the-road teams. So I'm going to take the Bears.
Bet. Another sweep for all of us. Next game, Browns versus the Commanders. I'm going to roll with the Browns. I'm going to roll with the Browns this week. I'm going to go with the upset. I know the Commanders are playing good, but I think it's going to be a big week for Amari Cooper. He sold bad last week against the Raiders in a game that I don't think Deshaun Watson particularly has played bad. I think he's kind of started to put it together a little bit piece by piece these past couple of weeks. He's still stinky. Don't get shit twisted. But I'm gonna go with the Browns. I'm gonna go with the Browns this week. I predict the big Amari Cooper game. Washington does not have a good defense, not one bit. And I think they'll show up the Browns.
I'm gonna go with the Commanders. Just because I'm a Jaden Daniels believer. Deshaun Watson has 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the season. He hasn't looked good in that offense. The offense looks stagnant. They even got held to nearly a scoreless day by the Dallas defense that has been thrashed the last 3 weeks. It's just one of those things for me. I'm always going to go with the team that looks more comfortable in their system. The coaching looks better. Quarterback looks better. Defense, if it gets into a shootout, I completely trust the Commanders' offense over the Browns. So I'm going to take Commanders.
Yeah, I like your reasoning on that too, X. I think the Cleveland defense is good, but they're just on the field too much because the Cleveland offense is so bad. It's a pivotal point like in the season for the Browns because they need a win here. They're 1-3. They can't afford to start 1-4, and they're hoping that they can get Nick Chubb back. I think he's back at practice this week. This would be instrumental in getting them back into the playoff race and getting back into it. You're making me question if I want to take Cleveland here, but I'm going to go with Washington.
Okay, I was going to say, if you pick Cleveland, that's 4 in a row picks you copying me. We was going to have to start a dialogue. Because I'm whooping your ass in these wins and loss things, and I see what you're trying to do. So
what do
don't
you mean?
piggyback off me. Don't piggyback off me.
I never piggyback off you.
Because I got something for you. You're not gonna catch up to me that way.
All right. I guess we'll find out.
Bad. All right.
I'm taking Washington.
These last 3 games have been some snoozes. Oh my goodness. We got Dolphins versus Patriots in New England. I'm gonna go with New England. I don't think New England's very good, but I think Miami's kind of showing how one-dimensional they are without Tua. For all the complaints we gave Tua not being able to take this Miami team over the hump, not just any quarterback can do it because they can't go vertical to Tyreek or Waddle, not one bit. And if you're not going to throw for more than 150 pass yards like Tyler Huntley did this past week, you're not going to win very many games. And in New England, I think this is a chance for a New England team to get another dub. So, Gage, like you said, they don't start the season 1-4.
Yeah, I'm taking New England too. I'm not trying to copy you, Ethan. But yeah, everything that you said is spot on, man. Miami has just looked awful since Tua went down, and I really don't think this is the week they figure it out against a division rival. New England's defense is stingy. Yeah, I'll take the Patriots.
See, this was a hard one for me because honestly, okay, let's do this. I'm going to go with the Patriots, and I hate to make it a sweep, right? But when it comes to Miami's offense, Ethan's completely right. They've looked stagnant. They've looked straight up bad. And it's not Tyler Huntley's fault specifically. Like I said, at the end of the day, it comes down to coaching. If you can't adjust your system to who the backup coach is and at least get a coherent offense going, like I've seen what the Packers did it with their backup, like that's a good coaching job. And I love Mike McDaniels, but I just don't think he's that level of coach yet that can win despite his quarterback not playing. So give me New England.
Yeah, I think we might have to start having a conversation soon about Mike McDaniel in the sense of like Mike McDaniel is a good coach, a solid coach. But when we talk about those upper echelon, that's the difference between him and a veteran coach. Is his plan A when it works, it works. But in the last 3 years, I don't think we've kind of seen the best that his plan B can offer. And I don't know if maybe Miami after this season starts to look at that. It's like you built this whole team around Tua and to go vertical with all these fast receivers. And yeah, Tua's health has definitely been a question mark. But when he's been there and we've gone up against other tough teams, this plan A hasn't really been plan A. And you can blame Tua, but if you're the coach that you say you are, you should be able to replicate some of it with a different quarterback. Not saying that quarterback has to be Tyler Huntley, but hey, I'm just saying. Uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. Next game that we got is the Colts versus the Jags. The Jags are free falling right now, 0-4. The Colts got a really big win against the Steelers in Indianapolis. This week they're going to go to Jacksonville. They're going to be without Anthony Richardson, which I think
he's questionable, right?
He's questionable. Yeah, I was going to say it's another thing of cock sources. I'm going to go. I think Jacksonville's backed in the corner. I really, really think they are. Like we've been saying that for the past 2 weeks. I think they're gonna get their first dub of the season this year. I'm gonna go with the Jags.
X, do you wanna take it? Because
This might be my first reach, but I already said it. I'm rolling
the
with it.
Jags scare me because like Ethan, I did the same thing 2 weeks ago where I was like, oh yeah, the Jags are gonna get their first win. They have to at this point, right? There's just too much talent, I guess. But man, they just have looked rough, man, and things do not look like they're going well in that organization. I'm taking the Colts.
I'm also going to take the Colts. I think this is the game. This game or next game is the game where Peterson gets fired. Um, I think it's one of those obvious things where your team is just not responding to the message you're giving them. Obviously, as a coach, your offense isn't responding. Trevor Lawrence has not looked good at all. Hasn't looked at a number one overall pick. You haven't adjusted your system to make him feel better. You haven't built his confidence up. Your defense, you've had Josh Allen, and then who's the other guy was the number one pick a while back. You have both these guys,
Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, you have both of those guys, and even then, you look like you're struggling on both sides of the ball. It's just I'm gonna take Indianapolis, man. Plus Joe Flacco, we see what he can do in these tiny spurts of being a backup quarterback. Hey, give me Flacco by 20, Indianapolis.
Hey, I mean, even if it's Anthony Richardson, he's played rough, but I got to give shout out to the Colts because they have been going back to their identity, and shout out to Jonathan Taylor because he's been hooping these last couple of weeks. So if they keep leaning into the run game, their defense has been playing really good. I think they have a really good chance of winning this game.
Bet. Let's move on to the next game. We've got another 12 o'clock game. Bills versus Texans. I know the Bills kind of got slammed by Baltimore this past week and got their first loss of the year. And they're going up against a really, really good Texans team that they did get bum rushed by Minnesota 2 weeks ago, but they kind of put it together this past week against the Jags. They escaped. I know it was a division game, but they definitely escaped. This one's a tough game for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do like both teams. It depends for me if the Texans are going to be able to run the ball with Mixon, because I know they didn't have Mixon last week.
He's questionable as of right now.
He's questionable this week. I'm gonna go to Bills. I'm gonna go to Bills away from home. I think they're gonna make up their loss from Baltimore, and I think they're gonna beat the Texans.
X.
I'm gonna go with the Texans. I get it. The Bills are one of those teams where I have a lot of questions for them. They're one of those front runner teams. I'd say they don't have a wide receiving core right now. They haven't found an answer. So you get ahead of them. All you got to do is make them run the ball, which they're really good at. But when you're down, you got to throw the ball. You got to score. You got to get those explosive plays. And for me, the Bills, outside of James Cook and these little once-in-a-lifetime little passes where they throw a screen and it goes forever, I haven't seen anything from the Bills' offense outside the running game from any of their wide receivers that gives me confidence against a Texan defense that's played really well and a Texas offense that's been proven to be explosive. So give me Stroud and the Texans.
Yeah, see, this one's a toss-up for me because like Ethan said, I like both of these teams. I think I'm going to go with the Texans here just because they're playing at home and their defense has looked solid. I don't think they've played their best football yet, but as long as you've got Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, I think they can put pressure on Josh Allen. Secondary is going to need to tighten up, and this is a good game to do that against this mediocre receiving core of the Bills. So, yeah, I'll take the Texans.
Texans, Bills for me. Next game up, we have Ravens versus Bengals. Joe Burrow has yet to defeat Lamar Jackson in a single regular season game, and I don't see that ending here. I think even the Bengals offensively have put it together the last 2 weeks. I think defensively they are stinky doo-doo poo-poo. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think right now they're playing the best ball in the AFC, or they're starting to heat up. I think the Ravens are starting to heat up. I'm going to go with the Ravens to beat the Bengals in this division matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens too. Like I said earlier, they're playing their best football right now. And the Bengals, they just they've looked rough. They only beat Carolina by 10 points last week. And even though Jamar Chase had that awesome play where the reporters asked him after the game if he was covered in baby oil. And he was, I know, crazy.
Quick check. Are any of y'all covered in baby
oil?
oil right now? Are any of y'all covered in baby oil right now? Nope. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But anyway,
oh, I forgot X cut his hair. That shit had me shook. I forgot X cut his hair. Oh my gosh. I said, bro, whoa. Oh my god.
Hey, okay. Well, off that sidetrack, I'm gonna take the Ravens though. I think they're looking really good.
I'll also go with the Ravens. We're gonna make another sweep. The Ravens finally have chosen an identity. They're gonna run you into the ground. They're gonna be physical. They're gonna stomp you, and they're gonna wear you down. I don't think the Bengals can withstand that. Like Ethan was saying, Joe Burrow has yet to beat Lamar Jackson, and I'll tell you what, it don't look like he's gonna beat Derrick Henry. Give me the Ravens.
Bet. Yep. Next game we got up on the list is our first 3:00 game. We got the Raiders at the Broncos. Another division game. A bunch of division games this week. I'm gonna go with the. Oh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Broncos at home. They got a good win against the Jets team. I think the defense is hooping. PS2 is kind of coming back to being one of the best corners in football that we know he can be. Bo Nix is still stinky, but so is the Raiders offense. Devontae Adams is not going to play this week because of a hamstring. So I'm going to go with the Broncos.
Yep. I'm taking the Broncos too. For all the reasons you just said, Devontae Adams, he is on his way out of Vegas, and they are just a whole mess within the whole organization. The quarterback situation, the defense has not lived up to expectations. I feel pretty good about Denver in this game.
I think it's going to be another sweep. I'm going to go with Denver as well. Like I said, Devontae Adams is probably going to be gone by the trade deadline. They don't have a quarterback. You could argue the Broncos don't either, but at least the Broncos have a defense that's playing well, and every other aspect of the game looks to be firing but their quarterback. So I think we're going to go with the Broncos.
The next game we got is we're going to have the Cardinals at San Fran. San Fran's coming off a good win against a bad New England team. And I don't really know what to think of the San Fran team. Injuries have definitely plagued this. It got announced this week that Christian McCaffrey has tendonitis in both his Achilles, which is not very good. It seems like the clock is starting on the end of Christian McCaffrey in the NFL as we know it. And I don't know if the Niners are going to recover from this. I got to see how they bounce back. Like I said, the Patriots game really doesn't do anything for me. They've had Ayuk, but even Ayuk isn't playing that very, very well. I don't think Debo is going to play this week or Kittle still. Again, it might be cock sources and I'm bullshitting, but this is the knowledge I have in my head at the moment. But I'm still going to pick them over the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are turning the corner. They're a solid team. I just don't feel like they have nearly as much talent. But actually, I'm going to change my pick. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think they're going to beat them in San Fran. This is going to be an upset of the week. I think K1 played really bad last week, but Marvin Harrison is showing that he's the generational wide receiver that we thought he could be. But I'm going to go with them this week.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going San Francisco because even though they lost Christian McCaffrey and hopefully it's not for the season, there's still a chance that he could come back. It's not looking promising, but Jordan Mason has played well enough, and Brock Purdy has been holding down the fort. Even though they're only 2-2 right now, I still think the defense is a problem. And you were definitely citing cock sources for that because I think Kittle and Debo are both expected to play, and they're not on the injury report as far as I can see. So, yeah, I mean, give me the Niners. I just think they're a better team, and the Cardinals' defense has just been really, really rough. So, I'll take the Niners.
I'm going to have to side with Gage on this one. I'm going to take the Niners. I'm looking at the injury report for both of these teams. The Cardinals have nearly as many players missing as the 49ers. So it's going to come down to A, your how you're coached, and B, your personnel. And honestly, 49ers have shown that they can win. They can win in a lot of different situations. They can grind out these ugly games. The Cardinals haven't shown that. Kyler Murray hasn't really shown that. Give me the 49ers. Give me the Shanahan tree just because every single time they play my Cowboys, I get stomped by a Shanahan disciple. I'm sick of it, but they're going to win this week.
Bet. This game might bite me in the ass when it comes to the record, but I'm standing 10 toes on what I picked so far. Next 3:00 game, we got Giants at Seattle. This is a hard game for me because the Giants got I wouldn't say smoked by Dallas, but they didn't look too well against the Cowboys. And Seattle, their defense, I know there was out their entire defensive line against Detroit, and I really don't think Seattle played bad. I don't think they played bad at all in that game. I just think they were hurt defensively. I think Geno Smith is playing really, really good to start the year. It's kind of dependent for me on, again, who I think is going to start from Seattle from that injury report, especially on the defensive line. But I'm going to go with Seattle. I think they're a lot better than the Giants. And I don't know what the neighbor's situation is. I know he got a concussion towards the end of the game in Dallas. I don't know if they're going to play him this week too. So I'm going to go with Seattle.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks here too. I think if it weren't for just a tremendous performance from the Lions offense, with Jared Goff completing, what was it, like 17 of 17? 18 of 18. Hey, completely shutting me up after we posted that thing about him not being good enough. Literally, right after we said that.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna put that TikTok on the screen right now.
I know what the problem is with the Lions.
What's up?
It's Jared Goff. It's been the problem. Again, I don't think Jared Goff is a horrible quarterback. The problem is there's just a limit to what you can do with this offense because Jameson Williams is here. He's playing. He's making an impact. But the problem is Jared Goff just isn't able to deliver the ball to him.
But
crazy.
That shit aged horrendously. That shit aged horrendously.
He had a really good game.
He had one of the best games. Probably the best game of his career.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think Seattle was a victim of that, of Detroit just playing their best ball. So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks over the Giants at home. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Seattle too. I think this is the year the Giants finally give up on Daniel Jones. He's never been an NFL starting quarterback. He's never been good enough to be a starting quarterback. That team doesn't have any weapons outside of Malik Neighbors. Shout out to my one of my favorite players. My brother, never met him, but I love him. Dexter Lawrence. I'm praying for you, bro. Get off, sexy Dexy. Get off this team, man. Go home. Go to Dallas, baby, please.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. All right. Seahawks.
Oh, brother. Okay. Ethan, you picked the Seahawks too?
Yeah, I got Seahawks.
Okay.
All right, next game we got up. Our last 3:00 game. Gage's team, Gage's boys. The Packers are going to be up against the Rams in Los Angeles. Again, this is another hard game to pick because the Packers did get. I want to say they got blown out by the Vikings. I know the final score doesn't say it, 31-29. But the game was over with at halftime. In my opinion, the game was over at halftime. I don't think. I don't know what to think too much of the Packers. I feel like they've looked really, really good in some spots. They're 0-2 with Jordan Love this year, and 2-0 without him. I do think they beat this Rams team though, because I think the Rams are not very good. They're injury riddled, and I think they're going to take advantage of that. Get a nice win that they very, very much need. I think Jordan Love needs it, and I'm going to go with the Packers.
X, I want to hear your take on the Packers before I give my spiel about the loss last week and how I feel coming into this one.
Look, I'm going to go with the Packers. As much as I hate to say it, I love LaFleur. I think he's a great head coach. I saw what he did with Malik Willis in that backfield under center. He's fantastic to me. LaFleur could do no wrong in my book. He's going to win this game.
Yeah, I think the Packers came out really, really bad in the first half last week, Ethan, to your point. I think a lot of people, I was definitely down on them going into the half. Somehow, miraculously, Jordan Love was able to get a touchdown before they went into the locker room at halftime, which kind of got them going. And honestly, I'm going to attribute that loss because they only lost because they had their field goal kicker missed 2 and one was like a 37-yarder, which they need to fix the kicking situation. But if it weren't for those field goals, we'd be having a different conversation about this Packers team, and we would just be chalking up the interceptions and the mistakes from Jordan Love to Russ. You didn't play the last 2 weeks. I think he bounces back and beats this beat up Rams team. So yeah, I'll take the Packers here, and they're going to have a better week than they did last week.
Gotcha. So all 3 Packers?
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to get to my former team and X's current team. We got the Cowboys. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys versus Steelers. Probably 2 of the 3-4 most historic teams in the NFL. Pretty big matchup considering both these teams need these wins. The Cowboys are going to be basically without everybody on their defensive line. Michael Parsons isn't going to play, it looks like. DeMarcus Lawrence looks like he's not going to play. Brandon Cooks looks like he's not going to play. It's going to be a rough game because the Steelers did not look good last week. Can we keep it a buck? They did not look. Yeah. They looked stinky. They looked stinky last week. Similar to the Packers in the sense they came out the gate really, really slow, and they kind of got washed early in the game, and it made it really, really hard for them to come back. I don't know. This one's hard for me. I'm gonna let Gage make the pick first, because I am excited to see this guy James Flournoy start. I know I've been talking about him a lot, especially in the earlier episodes. Cowboys wide receiver. Looks like he's going to be able to get an opportunity this week without Brandon Cooks playing. And I think he's the second best wide receiver on the roster. Brandon Cooks being older, and we don't really use him as properly as I would like him. And Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert kind of stinking. So I'm excited to see what Dak can do with him. But Gage, what do you got this week? Cowboys versus Steelers. What's your pick?
I'm going to take the Steelers here because they're playing at home. I think the coaching difference for me is the biggest thing. I just have a lot more confidence that Mike Tomlin will put together a game plan to beat Dallas because, like you said, they're very banged up defensively. And on offense, if we're not already counting the Brandon Cooks injury, that offense has been a nightmare. Can't run the ball, and you are literally funneling passes straight to CD and Jake Ferguson. The Steelers defense isn't going to let that happen. They're too good. And even though I'm not 100% sold on Justin Fields as the long-term quarterback here for the Steelers, I think that he's going to be just good enough to get them the win, because that's usually how the Steelers are.
This is going to be a bad one for me. Look, I'm going to have to go with the Steelers. Jerry Jones in that front office set this Cowboys team up, set Mike McCarthy up, and Dak Prescott to fail this season. You go into the offseason, don't get yourself any help on offense. You get worse by letting Tyron Smith go. You get worse by letting Tony Pollard go. You get worse on your defense by letting Gilmore walk and not bolstering that interior D-line. You haven't been able to stop a run down the middle. Couldn't stop a cold for 4 years. And you struggle with your coaching. You struggle with your offensive production, and you're bad in the offseason. You're going to start a rookie left tackle against TJ Watt again, and then you're going to let a good team. Justin Fields may not be able to throw, but guess what that boy can do?
Nice.
Run. So, and you have none of your starters. Then you got to account for on that defense. Caden Carson is missing. The rookie corner, Deron Bland, is still hurt. So we're going to have to start. I don't even want to say his name, man.
Say it.
I'm just going to let you know. Andrew Booth Jr. We're going to have to start Andrew Booth Jr. And, bro, he got cooked so much on Thursday Night Football. I live with my brother. They were on the couch sitting next to me having to console me because every single time he got cooked by wide receiver, he fell on his ass. My bad. Yeah. And we're just like, as the camera was on him. It was disgusting. It's going to be a bad game. Steelers.
Yeah, I think this is times where I roll back the clock. The Steelers are on the list for me with the Packers. They're with San Fran. They're with pretty much the Eagles as far as teams I actually wish would get wiped off the earth. So you could never get me to pick for them against my former team too. Last time Dak Prescott played the Steelers, he got a dub in what I think is probably the best Cowboys regular season game I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's the Zeke walk-off game. and I think I'm praying to the good
How
Lord.
long ago was that?
2016. And
8 years ago.
8 years ago, and I'm praying to the good Lord that he gives me a little win because I hate the Steelers. I hate their just good enough attitude. They make me sick. They make me nauseous. I hate those ugly, ugly mustard yellow jerseys with the black. Yuck, just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I'll never pick them over my former Cowboys. I'm waiting for Mike McCarthy and this Dallas offense to click. Because last year they didn't have a running game, even though they did have Tony Pollard, which is having a fine time in Tennessee. They still didn't have a running game last year, and the offense did perfectly fine up until the Green Bay game. So I'm waiting for Mike McCarthy and this offense to kind of realize, why don't we do the stuff we did last year? Because we have the same roster. And I'm with you, X, right? Losing Tyron Smith the way we lost him wasn't the greatest. The offensive line has been pretty solid. I think Tyler Guyton at left tackle has been solid. Again, he's gone through a gauntlet of defensive ends and pass rushers so far this season. And you can't really pinpoint me a time where you could say he lost the game. Dak, there was some stat according to Cox sources where this is some of the best pass protection Dak has received in his career. And I don't think the offensive line, especially in pass protection, has played bad. I think Terrence Steele is kind of washed, but I think overall as a core unit, they've been pretty well. Cooper Beebe has been pretty well. I think if they can kind of use Rico Dowdle outside of the tackles, not inside, maybe use Hunter Lupke and Zeke when they want to run in between the tackles, that could be a nice switch up. I have high hopes for James Flourney developing into a solid number 2. I guess this week we're going to see because it's going to be his first shot. And Steelers offensively, nobody really moves me. They do run the ball really, really solid. And the Cowboys suck at stopping the run, especially without their best defensive player and their probably second or third defensive players both out. But the Steelers offense can be stopped. Like, they're not like unstoppable. They're very middle of the pack. Justin Fields is not. I still don't stand by the fact that he's not very good. He's having a good season, but I don't think he's particularly good. I think the Cowboys, they play clean football. They can get CeeDee Lamb involved, especially in the slot against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. That's going to be their best chance. And someone outside of CeeDee Lamb is going to have to make a couple plays for the Dallas offense to win this game. I'm not worried about Dak. I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
I mean, look, I agree with you. It's Ryan Flournoy should have a pretty good season.
Ryan Flourney.
Yeah. And I think he's going to be fine. I don't think Jalen has been playing bad either. Which one? Brooks? The other one? What's the
They've both
Turpin?
been stinky as far as I'm concerned.
Kamante Turpin's played well when he gets used.
I feel like I did a good job like rallying the troops. Don't you guys think? Like, I feel like I did a good job like mustering up some.
You did a great job, man.
Thanks,
I almost believed you for a second.
Actually, I don't want to fucking hear it because you are not a Cowboys fan anymore.
I fucking hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
yeah, but this is like where you get drafted to a team and you're like, your team's gonna lose in this like pickup basketball game, but you got to make them believe so you don't embarrass yourself. So that's what he just did. He was like, yeah, it's not gonna be bad, guys. It's like, okay.
Oh, I respect it, I guess, the hate that Ethan has for this organization. But we are down to our last game of the week, and it is our Monday night football game. New Orleans Saints at Kansas City Chiefs. How are we feeling about this? Ethan, your team back in action.
My team back in action without Rashee Rice. He's probably going to be out towards the end of the year. I know we mentioned that earlier. Oof, this is going to be a hard one because at the same time, the Saints are kind of free-falling a little bit. Lost the last 2 games. Really shouldn't have. Kind of blew their load against the Cowboys and ain't really done shit else since then. We kind of gassed them. Choked the game away against the Eagles. Choked the game away against the Falcons. I wouldn't say choke, but they did lose on a game-winning field goal, so fuck it. It's hard for me because I don't know which Saints team we're going to see. I really don't know. This is tough. And Kansas City hasn't played well. They really haven't. But I still think it's going to keep going. I don't think the Saints in Kansas City is going to be the team to beat them. I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
X?
Look, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm a big Mahomes fan. I'm not going to be with another one of those guys on the internet that tells you how great he is. You watch football. Again, they just find ways to win these games, whether it's late game heroics or miracles, or some people on Twitter would say ref cheating.
Black magic juju.
black magic juju, praying to the devil, praying to God, whatever God you believe in, Allah, whatever. It's one of those things for me, man, where they're going to find a way to win this game, even if it is 17-15 and they won by a stupid penalty or a field goal or something like that. And maybe Kelsey gets going this game. I don't see it, but, they're going to find a way to win this game. They're the Chiefs. They always do.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs here because they have a bye next week. And heading into week 7, they've got the San Francisco 49ers. So I think this is a big game for them because I think that is really the first game they're looking at their schedule and saying, like, this is the team that we see in the Super Bowl, NFC legitimate contender. We got to win this game against the Saints and get a little bit healthier before we go and play the Niners. So I'll take the Chiefs here.
Bet. The Chiefs sweep. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for our Week 5 NFL predictions. If you want to check our record out before these games, what it is, I'm whooping Gage's ass. You can check it out on
7
our Instagram.
games.
I had a crazy week last week. But you can check it out.
Yeah, you were hooping last week.
IG. We're going to be posting there. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video. We really appreciate the engagement. We really appreciate Mr. Xavier, Mr. X-Man, Mr. Racially Ambiguous for joining us today. We're going to have him on later this season. It's a long-ass season. So if you want to see X on again, make sure to follow him and let him know. Yeah, X, come back on our recording, and he'll definitely come on. I know where he lives. But appreciate you, X, for hopping on.
I appreciate any time I get to yap about a sport and hold a captive audience. Thank you.
Hold the captive audience. No shame. No shame. Well,
We
Gage,
love it.
007, you already know the vibes. It's been 007, Gage Sutton, my partner in crime. You already know who it is. Young Rottweiler, Mr. 5'5" of pure temptation. Actually, I just measured myself the other day, 5'6". Talk to these niggas. Mr. 5'6" of pure temptation. Young Rottweiler, Ethan Hamilton, and this has been our reporting. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll check you guys out next week.